The grand chamber of the Magic Council was steeped in an air of authority, with its tall, arched ceilings painted with the snowy mountains within its walls. With each seat occupied, the council members sat around in a small round table. Their expressions were serious, yet the atmosphere around them was far from solemn. At one end of the table, a woman with flowing black hair idly toyed with a small crystal orb. Her fingers rolled it gracefully along her arm before letting it fall to the table, where it shattered upon impact, only to seamlessly mend itself seconds later. She repeated the motion without a hint of care, with her eyes half-lidded with disinterest.
Altair, stop playing around during the meeting,
A cat-like individual chided. She paused for a moment, a sly smile curling her lips as she responded with feigned innocence.
But I'm bored.
Her gaze shifted toward a younger man seated nearby.
Aren't you Seagrain?
Quite boring indeed. Though I wonder if someone out there might stir up some trouble soon.
Watch your mouth! How could these brats become council members?
Brushing off the outburst, Seagrain only smirked.
'Cause our magical power is high, old fart.
The chairman, seated at the head of the table, rapped his staff against the floor, silencing the escalating argument. His voice held the authority of his position as he spoke to the gathered individuals.
The magical world is always filled with many problems, but we especially want to take care of the idiots of fairy tale.
In the bustling port town of Harjan, a black steam engine train pulled into the station. The sound of hissing steam filled the air as passengers disembarked one after another. As the last of them left, the conductor glanced around, scanning for any remaining passengers on board. It was then that he noticed a boy with spiky pink hair slumped motionless in his seat. Despite the train having been stopped, the boy had not budged. The conductor, puzzled, approached him with a slight tilt of his hat as he leaned over.
Excuse me, sir. Are you okay?
Natsu's eyes swirled back and forth, a clear sign that the motion of the train had left him disoriented. He blinked rapidly, struggling to regain his senses. His feline partner, Happy, stood in front of him, appearing rather unperturbed by the situation.
This happens all the time.
Wearing a red ribbon around its neck, Happy was a small blue cat who firmly walked with both of his hind legs. Natsu slowly managed to pull himself to his feet, shaking his head in an attempt to clear the lingering dizziness. The train had taken its toll on him, and his voice was still unsteady as he muttered,
"Impossible. I will never ride a train. Ever again."
With that, he leaned out of the window and promptly vomited. Despite the unpleasantness, Happy remained unfazed, trotting out of the train with a cheerful stride.
If the info we got is correct, Salamander should be in this town. Let's go.
Natsu, still woozy from the experience, replied,
"Let me rest for a while."
The boy, still leaning out of the window, was far from finished with the train ride. The train began to rumble, and the wheels started to screech against the tracks.
It departed already.
Happy observed, watching from the platform as the train pulled away with Natsu still aboard, frantically calling for help. Not far from the station, inside a quaint magic shop, a young blonde woman conversed with the shopkeeper, her expression showing clear surprise as she took in the news he had just delivered.
There's only one magic store in this town?
Yes. This town is more prosperous in fishing than magic to begin with. Only less than 10% of the townspeople can use magic, so this store mainly targets to traveling mages.
She sighed deeply at his response.
I think I've wasted my time.
Please don't say that. Have a look around.
The old man grabbed a book from the counter, holding it up for her to see.
This colors magic is probably the most popular one among girls. Depending on your mood, you can change the color of your outfit.
With that, he turned around, and his entire design instantly changed to the color purple.
I already have it.
She replied flatly, barely glancing at the book. Yet, her eyes still wandered over the shelves in search of something else.
I'm looking for the keys of the gates, strong ones.
The shopkeeper thought for a moment, pondering the rarity of such an item, until his gaze fell on a particular display. He smiled, walking over to it and revealing a silver key resting on a white cushion.
White doggy!
That's not strong at all.
It's okay. I've been looking for it.
As she smiled, the girl questioned him.
How much is it?
20,000 jewels.
I wonder how much it is.
I said 20,000 jewels.
He repeated. With a playful smile, she leaned over the banister, letting her voluptuous body briefly come into view. Her voice lowered, even becoming flirtatious as she purred.
I wonder how much it really is, dandy mister.
Annoyed, seeing her attempt fall flat, Lucy stormed out of the shop in frustration.
He only gave me a 1,000 jewels discount.
Without warning, Lucy kicked a nearby signpost as her anger boiled over.
Is my sex appeal only worth 1,000 jewels?
Just as the words left her lips, an unusual commotion began to stir in the street. A large multitude of voices grew louder. Lucy's frustration momentarily faded as she noticed the sudden rush of women from every direction. It didn't take long for her to hear the words that swept through the crowd.
Salamander is in town.
Salamander? You mean the mage who controls the magic of fire that can't be bought in stores? He's in town?
For a moment, her frustration was forgotten as her mind raced. Salamander was known throughout the land as a mage of legendary power who predominantly uses fire magic. He was a figure of awe, revered and celebrated, his abilities nearly mythical in nature. Lucy's instincts told her to remain cautious, but a flicker of interest sparked in her curiosity.
Oh, he's popular.
With a moment of deliberation, she mused silently to herself as she leaned closer with every step to the source.
I wonder if he looks cool.
Meanwhile, not far from the scene, a young man with spiky pink hair trudged along the open streets with a small blue-furred cat perched at his side.
I ended up riding the train twice,
You're so bad with transportation.
and I'm hungry.
We don't have any money.
The young man scratched his head, sighing deeply before looking toward his companion.
Hey, Happy, they probably meant Igneel when they said salamander, right?
Yup. I can only think of Igneel when I hear Dragon of Fire.
That's what I thought too. I finally found him. I feel a little better now.
Their conversation was interrupted by the distant hum of an excited crowd, the name Salamander ringing out once again. Both their heads snapped toward the commotion, overhearing his name.
See! Speak of the devil!
The fire mage, Salamander, stood at the center of the commotion, waving graciously to his adoring fans.
Igneel! Igneel!
Watching from the edge of the gathering, Lucy felt her heartbeat quicken inexplicably.
Is it because he's a famous mage? Is that why my heart is beating so fast?
Her thoughts dissipated as Natsu quickly barreled through the crowd. The sudden outburst snapped Lucy out of her trance. The man and his feline companion soon found themselves at the center of attention. Natsu's gaze locked onto Salamander.
Who are you?
Taken aback, but quick to recover, Salamander responded with a self-assured smile.
Maybe you know me as Salamander.
Disappointed, both Natsu and Happy turned to leave without another word, leaving the fire mage visibly surprised. Before they could get far, a group of angry women surrounded them. They demanded an apology for the perceived insult to their idol. Salamander, sensing an opportunity, raised a hand to silence the mob.
That's enough, girls. He didn't really mean it either.
The women immediately softened, their anger melting into adoration, sharing just how kind he really is. Ignoring the crowd's murmurs, Salamander produced a small whiteboard, scribbling his name onto it with such flourish.
I'll give you my signature. You can show it off to your friends.
I don't want it.
The crowd gasped in disbelief before turning on him with renewed vigor, shoving him roughly to the ground, telling him to get lost. Happy scurried over to his fallen companion.
It wasn't him.
I appreciate your enthusiastic welcome, but I have some errands to run at the port. So please excuse me.
Unbothered by the chaos, Salamander clicked his fingers, conjuring a swirling twister of purple flames that lifted him effortlessly into the air.
We're having a party on the ship tonight. Please come.
Watching from the sidelines, Natsu frowned in disappointment.
What is he?
He's really disgusting.
Lucy added, stepping beside him with a small nod of acknowledgement.
Thanks for earlier.
And then...
To show her gratitude, she treated him and his companion to a meal at a nearby restaurant. The young man's appetite was insatiable, devouring everything in sight. He attempted to speak, perhaps to comment on her kindness, but his words stumbled over a mouthful of food, reducing his compliment to an unintelligible mumble. Eating at a more measured pace, the cat agreed with his sentiment as he nibbled on a small fish. Despite her best efforts to keep the chaos under control, Bits of food splattered across the table and onto the floor. She sighed, raising her voice just enough to get their attention.
You are Natsu and happy, right? I understand you, so just eat slowly or things will keep splashing all over the place. I mean, the discount I got from my sex appeal is all gone. That salamander guy was using a magic called Charm. It's a spell that attracts people's hearts to the caster and was already banned several years ago, but trying to get girls' attention using such magic, how disgusting. Though, thanks to you guys jumping in, the charm on me wore off.
I see.
I may look like this, but I'm a mage too.
Not missing a beat, he spotted another piece of food on the table and scarfed it down.
I'm not a member of any guild yet, though. A guild is an association of mages. It mediates jobs and information for them. Mages won't be considered full-fledged until they work for a guild. But there are many guilds all over the world, and it's pretty hard to get into the guilds that are popular. Many great mages gather at the one I want to get into. What should I do? I want to get in, but I bet it'll be hard.
Slurping a mouthful of pasta, Natsu simply disagreed.
Ah, sorry. You wouldn't understand a story from the world of mages, would you? But I'll surely join that guild. I bet I can get many big jobs there.
I see.
You talk a lot.
By the way, aren't you guys looking for someone?
It's Igneel!
I heard that Salamander was coming to this town, so we came. But it was the wrong person.
This salamander didn't look like a salamander.
I totally believed it was Igneel, too.
How could a human look like a salamander?
Natsu glanced at her as if stating the obvious.
He's not human. Igneel is a real dragon.
Her jaw dropped in utter shock.
There is no way such a thing would be in this town. Hey, don't tell me you only just noticed.
Deciding to end the conversation, she placed some money on the table and stood up.
I guess I better get going, but go ahead and take your time.
As she turned to leave, Natsu and Happy suddenly burst into tears, falling to the ground in a display of gratitude. Their loud cries caught the attention of other customers, who turned to watch the peculiar scene unfold. Embarrassed, Lucy tried to dismiss their actions.
Don't worry, you helped me too. So we're even now, right?
I don't feel like I've helped you at all.
I don't feel right.
Then, as if struck by an idea, Natsu pulled out a small whiteboard featuring Salamander's signature and offered it to her with a grin. Lucy quickly shot the offer down. With a sense of finality, they parted ways, each heading in their respective direction. The bustling sounds of the marketplace faded as she found a safe, quiet spot on a wooden bench. Settling down, she unfurled a copy of Sorcerer Magazine Weekly, a publication dedicated to the wonders of magic. Her voice broke the silence as she scanned the headlines.
Fairy Tale caused trouble again? What is it this time? They destroyed the Devon thief family, but also destroyed 7 other houses that belonged to the townspeople. That's way too much!
She chuckled at the chaotic exploits described, flipping to a double-page spread featuring a striking image of a mage with flowing white hair doing a photo shoot.
Mira Jane covering the page! Fairy Tale's drawing card, Mira Jane. I wonder if someone like her would be so reckless, too.
Adjusting her posture, she leaned forward, her thoughts turning inward.
I mean, how do I join Fairy Tale? Do I have to learn some strong magic? I wonder if I have to go through interviews. The Mage Guild Fairy Tale. It's the best.
I see. You want to join Fairy Tale?
A voice suddenly interrupted, breaking her reverie. Startled, she turned to Salamander, emerging from the bushes behind her.
Oh man, I've been looking all over for you. I really wanted to invite a beautiful lady like you to our party on the ship.
Her response was sharp as she stood, pointing an accusatory finger.
Let me tell you first, your charm won't work on me anymore. The weak point of charm is understanding. As long as the person knows about it, that magic is useless.
I knew it. I knew you were a mage when our eyes met. It's okay. I'll be happy if you just come to the party.
There's no way I would come to such a nasty guy's party.
Nasty? Me?
His feigned innocence didn't fool her.
I'm talking about charm. Do you want to get popular that much?
That's only a trial.
Salamander insisted.
I just want to be a celebrity during the party.
As she turned to leave, she muttered over her shoulder.
You're an idiot, not even close to being a popular mage.
Wait up!
He called, rushing to keep pace.
You want to join Fairy Tale, right?
The comment froze her in her tracks.
Have you ever heard of Salamander from Fairy Tale?
Lucy's eyes widened in shock.
You are one of the mages of Fairy Tale?
If you want to join, I can talk to the master for you.
Her demeanor shifted in an instant, excitement overcoming her skepticism as she hurried to his side.
It'll be a wonderful party, won't it?
Your personality is easy to understand, huh?
Can I really join Fairy Tale?
Of course. But please don't tell anyone about charm.
Okay.
She agreed quickly. The mage waved her off with a smirk.
I'll see you at the party then.
Roger, sir!
Once he was gone, realization dawned upon her, and Lucy's expression soured to her dismay.
That hack! I fell for his pseudo-charm!
Yet, despite her irritation, a giddy smile crept across her face. She leaped up in delight.
I can join Fairy Tale!
Her laughter softened as she added under her breath.
I'll just have to be friendly with that idiot until I join.
Later, as night cloaked the town, Natsu and his companion ascended the summit of Harjin. The boy rubbed his stomach, satisfied from his earlier meal, while his friend balanced nimbly on the brick railings. Happy stopped suddenly, its eyes fixed on a distant ship with its sails illuminated by the moonlight.
Oh yeah, Salamander said he'd have a party on a ship. I wonder if that's the one.
A wave of nausea washed over him at the thought of being aboard.
Don't get motion sickness just by imagining it.
As the duo lingered, the quiet murmur of the night was broken by the excited voices of two women who had stopped nearby to admire the picturesque horizon. One of them pointed eagerly toward the ship.
Look! That's the ship! Salamander's ship! I wanted to go to the party, too!
Her companion tilted her head, clearly puzzled.
You don't know about him? He's that great mage who's currently in town. I heard he's a mage from that famous fairy tale guild.
Overhearing the conversation, Natsu and Happy froze in place. Salamander of Fairy Tale? For a moment, Natsu glanced at the ship, his stomach churning anew at the mere sight of it. But then, as realization dawned, his nausea was replaced by a look of alarm. His brows furrowed, and his jaw tightened as he stared at the vessel with growing urgency. On board the ship, the atmosphere was lively, almost luxurious, resembling a two-tiered cruise liner filled with the buzz of conversation and laughter. The guests, predominantly women, adorned themselves in an array of dresses with bright hues contrasting with the night sky. Inside Salamander's private suite, Lucy sat uneasily, her red dress complementing her radiant appearance. The mage poured an orange-hued wine into 2 glasses, his charm oozing in every word.
Lucy, huh? That's such a pretty name. Let's toast with a glass of wine first,
he said smoothly.
Don't you have to attend to the other girls?
It's okay. I feel like drinking with you.
With a snap of his fingers, the wine in her glass levitated, transforming into small, glistening orbs that floated in midair.
Try opening your mouth. The pearls of wine will slowly come in.
How irritating! I just have to be patient. Patience. Patience. Patience.
Rising abruptly, she swatted the floating wine away.
What are you planning? This is a sleeping drug, isn't it?
Salamander's charming facade cracked slightly, but he chuckled.
Oh, how did you know?
Don't misunderstand. I want to join Fairy Tale, but I have no intention of becoming your girl.
Salamander's expression darkened.
You're a bad girl. If you just slept peacefully, you wouldn't have to get hurt.
Before Lucy could react, 2 burly men grabbed her arms, pinning her in place.
Oh, good job, Salamander.
We haven't had such a pretty one in a while.
What's going on? Who are you?
Ignoring her protests, Salamander grasped her chin, forcing her attention on him.
Welcome to our slave ship. I must ask you to remain silent until we reach Bosco, my lady.
What? Bosco? What happened to Fairy Tale?
I told you. It's a slave ship.
Salamander sneered.
I brought you in as merchandise from the beginning. Just give up already.
His men briefly explained how they used the charm spell to lure women into their trap. When charm failed on Lucy, they decided to train her instead.
No, this can't be. What is he? How can someone do something like this?
With his hand, Salamander snatched her celestial keys from her leg.
The keys of gates, huh? I see you're a stellar spirit mage.
Stellar spirit? What is that? We have absolutely no clue about magic.
Swinging the keys mockingly, Salamander explained,
Only contracted mages can use this magic, meaning it's useless for me.
He then hurled the keys out the window. It didn't take long for Salamander to draw a staff forged of dark iron, inscribed with a menacing skull insignia at one end. The tip of the staff burned a fiery red glow, as if it had just been pulled from a roaring, hot furnace.
Let me brand you as a slave first. It'll be a little hot, but please bear with it.
The heat intensified as the staff inched closer to Lucy. Tears welled in her eyes as she cried out in defiance.
Abusing magic, cheating people, and performing slavery? You are the worst mage ever.
Before the staff could reach her, a sudden creak in the floorboards above stole everyone's attention. The next moment, the ceiling shattered as a pink-haired individual came crashing through the scene. Natsu appeared from above like a meteor, landing ungracefully with a thud. His sudden entrance left everyone momentarily stunned. Lucy wiped her tears and stared at the pink-haired boy in surprise. But Natsu, still suffering from motion sickness, could only groan weakly.
No, I can't take it.
That's lame!
What's going on? Why would a brat fall from the sky?
Before he could process what was happening, a small figure with angelic white wings swooped into view.
Lucy, what are you doing here?
Happy! I was fooled! He told me he'd let me join Fairy Tale and I... Wait, did you have wings before?
Happy ignored the question and darted toward Lucy, grabbing her by her dress. The cat lifted off and began carrying her toward the hole Natsu had created in his dramatic entrance. Lucy panicked as they soared upward.
Wait, what about Natsu?
I can't carry 2 people.
From below, Salamander raised his hand high, purple flames swirling around his fingers.
I won't let you get away!
The flames erupted in a column of fire, narrowly missing them as they ascended.
Don't let that woman get away! It'll be a problem if she reports to the council members.
Yes, sir!
The men chorused, rushing to the deck and firing wildly at the fleeing pair. Bullets whizzed through the air, but Happy maintained his grip on Lucy.
Lucy, listen.
What is it at a time like this?
My transformation effect has worn off.
The wings on his back suddenly vanished. Gravity took hold, dragging both of them down, their bodies slicing through the air before crashing into the ocean's depths. Happy collided with a jagged rock, while Lucy quickly steadied herself, scanning her surroundings.
I can't believe Fairy Tale is like that. No, I have to rescue those girls first.
Darting around, she spotted her collection of gate keys lodged in a shallow place. Meanwhile, up above, Natsu was struggling to regain focus. Despite the turmoil, his eyes bore into Salamander with a fiery intensity. Happy clung tightly to Lucy's head as the two broke the surface. Gasping for air, Lucy wasted no time. She raised a golden key toward the water, her voice ringing out like a command from the heavens.
Open! A door to the Treasure Vase Palace, Aquarius!
A brilliant beam of light pierced the water, and from it emerged a royal blue mermaid with flowing light blue hair and piercing, pupilless eyes. She held a small urn in one hand, her presence exuding power.
I'm a stellar spirit mage. I can use the keys of the gates to summon stellar spirits from another world.
Turning her attention to the ship, she commanded,
Now, Aquarius, use your power to send the ship back to the coast.
The mermaid, however, sneered at her summoner.
Don't be picky about something like that!
Aquarius calmly insulted Lucy, calling her a noisy child, and warned her never to drop her keys again unless she wanted to face dire consequences. Lucy hastily apologized. Raising her urn, the mermaid drew the ocean's waters into its depths before unleashing a furious wave. The tidal force collided with the ship, hurling it and Lucy and Happy toward the coast with a deafening crash. The commotion didn't go unnoticed. Townsfolk emerged, staring in awe at the massive vessel grounded on the shore. Salamander struggled to his feet, barking,
What's going on?
The rocking stopped.
Back on the beach, Lucy turned her ire toward Aquarius.
What were you thinking? How could you flush me along, too?
Aquarius smirked, unapologetic.
My bad. I flushed the ship as well.
Were you aiming at me?
Satisfied her job was done, Aquarius declared,
Don't call me for a while. I'm going on a trip for a week. With my boyfriend.
No need to repeat.
As the stellar spirit vanished, Lucy clenched her fists.
She's so selfish.
You don't get along, huh?
But I did it. Once the military personnel hears about it and arrive at the scene, all the other girls will be safe too. I'm so nice.
We forgot Natsu inside.
Inside the ruined ship, Natsu had regained his composure. Facing Salamander, his expression hardened. Lucy's eyes widened in alarm. She rushed to the ship's interior and asked if he was okay. What she found stopped her cold. Natsu stood like an immovable force. The fire mage sneered.
Brat, you shouldn't get on other people's ships without permission.
Salamander ordered his men to throw Natsu out. But as they advanced, Natsu shrugged off his jacket.
Don't worry. I forgot to tell you, but Natsu is a mage too.
Are you a mage of fairy tale?
What about it?
As if challenging his claim, Natsu pressed.
Let me take a good look at your face.
One of Salamander's men lunged at the boy, but he swatted him away with a single blow.
I'm Natsu from Fairy Tale. I've never seen you before.
Natsu is a mage from Fairy Tale?
Salamander's men began to notice the fiery red tattoo emblazoned on Natsu's shoulder.
He's real, Bora! Idiot! Don't call me by that name!
Bora. Bora of Prominence. He was banished from a mage guild called Titan Nose several years ago.
I've heard about him. He committed several thefts using magic and got banished. I don't care if you are a bastard or a good person, but I can't forgive you for using our name.
Bora snarled, lashing out with a wave of violet flames aimed directly at Natsu. The searing heat danced toward its target, but instead of succumbing, Natsu stood firm. To everyone's disbelief, he opened his mouth and devoured the flames as if they were nothing more than a meal.
What is it? Are you really a fire mage? I've never tasted such an awful fire.
He casually wiped his mouth and gave a mocking nod of thanks. The onlookers were stunned into silence. Lucy and Bora's henchmen gawked at the sight, bewildered by such a bizarre display of magic.
Fire won't work on Natsu.
Natsu clenched his fists, flames flickering around him as his strength surged.
Now that I've eaten, I can feel my power. Here I come!
With a deep breath, he inhaled, his chest expanding like a bellows, before unleashing a colossal torrent of fire from his mouth. The flames roared through the air, guided by his hands as they surged toward Bora and his crew. The firestorm erupted like an explosion, engulfing everything in its path. Rosy hair, a scales-like scarf? No doubt he's the real deal. Natsu was indeed the real salamander.
Remember it well. Mage!
He said coldly before launching himself at Bora. His flaming punch collided with the deck of the ship, splintering wood and sending Bora sprawling.
Eating fire and punching with fire? Is it really magic?
Dragon's lungs spew flames, its scales melt flames, and its nails are dressed with flames. This is an ancient spell that converts the body to a dragon's constitution. It's originally dragon interception magic.
I see.
Dragon Slayer. Igneel taught Natsu this.
It's weird that a dragon taught someone a dragon interception magic, isn't it?
But Happy only shrugged. While she admired the spectacle, Lucy couldn't ignore the utter devastation left in Natsu's wake. He didn't show any signs of slowing down, dismantling Bora's crew with relentless fury.
The port! It's all messed up! Don't give me eye!
Before she could scold further, the clatter of armored boots filled the air. A contingent of soldiers marched toward the scene, led by a burly captain who roared,
"What's all this ruckus?"
Natsu's eyes widened. Without hesitation, he grabbed Lucy's arm.
Crap! Let's run!
Why me?
She shrieked, stumbling after him. A mischievous grin spread across Natsu's face as he glanced back at her.
You want to join Fairy Tale, right? Then come with me.
Lucy's frustration gave way to joy, a gleam of excitement lighting up her face as they dashed away, Happy trailing close behind. Elsewhere, within the Magic Council, an older mage slammed his hand onto a newspaper in fury.
They destroyed half the port! Can you believe that? I won't be surprised if a town disappears one day.
Don't jinx it. I feel like they really might do that. Anyway, I reported to the government that they arrested the criminal, Bora.
Seagrain smiled slyly.
Oh, geez. I like those idiots, though.
You just shut up!
It's true they're a bunch of idiots, but it's also true they're incredibly skilled mages.
That's why we're at such a loss.
Indeed, a tricky subject.
Just let them be. If we didn't have idiots like them, this world wouldn't be fun.
Lucy's eyes sparkled as Natsu pointed ahead to a towering structure, Her heart swelled with excitement as they reached their destination, the official guild building of her wildest dreams. Its name is Fairy Tale.